Hey everyone, this is Nikachu, Merfolk Master and Pro Player, and we are going to continue with the review of all the new exciting cards coming out of Rivals of Ixalan. We were waiting for years for a Merfolk set to return, and now it's here, so let's make the best of it. And we are today going to be looking at Jadelight Ranger. Jadelight Ranger, not quite a blue Merfolk, completely green. So we've got a double green and one generic 2/1 Merfolk Scout. And when Jadelight Ranger enters the battlefield, it's going to explore. And then it explores again. So it's basically the super branch walker of Merfolk. And let's get this one thing out of the way. How many of these effects do we need? Like, both standard and modern, it has access to Silver Gill-Adept and Merfolk Branch Walker. How many of these sort of curve smoothing cards, like hand smoothing and deck smoothing cards, do we need? That, like, I don't know. There's a lot of people who are already shaving Merfolk Branch Walker in Tropical Merfolk because they feel like they have too many. And you know what? That's a pretty good debate to have. It's possible the right number of Merfolk Branch Walkers is somewhere between 2 to 3. And I can totally understand, you know, Silver Gill... I think it's very good that we have more Silver Gill-Adept effects, but maybe the right number is somewhere between 6 and 7. But I don't know about more than 8, especially for double green. That is incredibly difficult to cast. So this card, I know we shouldn't look at it like a 2/1 creature. It is in general going to be a 3/2 creature, sometimes a 4/3. That's important to note because that's a huge creature, and we're not even accounting for the fact that there are Lords or Metallic Mimic or Deep Root Elite that could make it even bigger than that. Like, this thing could end up being enormous when all is said and done. But are we going to take up the 3 mana slot with this guy? Is that what we're going to do? I mean, and it can help look for more gas. It's just a very hard card to evaluate because I'm looking at it too much from the Explore effect, and I know that we have enough of these effects in the deck as it is. So in Standard, if there's not enough room, sure, I guess we're gonna if there's not enough cards to put in our 75, we could jam this thing. It is great in that it will constantly find us gas. So like if there's 2 lands on top, you know, no problem. We're going to draw those lands and then help dig for what's important. Unfortunately, I don't think there's any important lands. No, that's, you know what, it's not entirely true. Like, we've got access to the deserts. All the deserts, those are relevant. So maybe if deserts can make a good synergy with this deck, this card will go up in value. But at the same time, I don't know how many of these effects we can really jam. I know that it has decent synergy with Kumena, Tyrant of Orazca, because we can sculpt the top of our deck for something good, and then, because when we explore, we can only draw the lands, we can't draw the non-land cards, so we just sculpt the top of our deck for something great, and then draw it with Kumena, and so yeah, it's got that going for it. In Modern, like, it looks useless. It doesn't look like we can fit this card in the deck at all. It does pass some tests, like it's going to be good against Jund, it's going to be good against Abzan, it might even be good against decks like Titan Shift, or any deck where Tectonic Edge would be good. The double Explore helps a lot, so it increases the chance of us drawing it, if we put Tectonic Edge in the sideboard, you know, it will be good, but I don't know if that's really enough. It feels a bit too niche to want this thing. At 3 mana, it's competing with like Kira Great Glass Spinner and Kupala and a slew of other creatures. 3 mana is incredibly greedy, and we could probably make do with something else at 3 mana. So yeah, like Modern, probably good against Control, probably good against attrition-based decks. Not really amazing actually against creature-based decks, because we're going to want to play Lords. And playing this big dummy is like okay, but we might get smashed on the board. And then what else? We've got Combo. This is not good against Combo. Maybe it's like okay if we have Aether Vial, but if we don't have Aether Vial, then it's just a disaster trying to cast. Like with these double green cards, we really have to warp the deck in order to cast it. Double green is tough. Double green is pretty tough. So, yeah, I don't think it's playable in Modern. Certainly doesn't help many of our bad matchups, except for maybe Titan Shift. If we put the Tectonic Edges in the sideboard, doesn't help against Affinity. I don't think it helps against Lantern Control. So this doesn't look like really a contender for Modern at all. And even for Standard, I'm not sure how many of these things that we want. There's a lot of really cool things for 3 mana that are already available in Standard, and this is going to compete with them, and it's hard to say. You know what? If there wasn't Silvergill Adept or Merfolk Branch Rocker, I would say, hey, do you know what? This is a great card. But we have those cards, and I don't know if we need any more of them. So, but playtesting can still prove me wrong. That's what playtesting is for. Who knows? Maybe it's just great to have like 12 of these things to just keep the gas coming. If the metagame certainly did turn very control-like, very attrition-based-like, maybe we just want tons of these guys. Maybe it's a sideboard card for all I know. You know, I'm looking at it like a main deck card. It seems like a reasonable sideboard card. Side these guys in and make our removal-heavy opponents fight that much harder to beat us. It's certainly nice that it does provide value in addition to being a creature, so at the very least we can attack with it. And you know what, if it's not good enough, at least we got some lands out of it, or maybe we scryed the next threat that we need against our opponent. So that's my thoughts on Jadelight Ranger. Let me know what you guys think about this creature below. And yeah, that's going to be it. This has been Nikachu reviewing Jadelight Ranger, the newest card coming out of Rivals for Ixalan.